Hey YouTube, this is Jack Connor. I just wanted to pop in with my quick thoughts about Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher returning in Episode 9, in the Star Wars Episode 9. Tragically, Carrie Fisher passed away and won't be able to film new scenes for the movie, but they are going to use scenes filmed in either Episode 7 or 8 or both and reuse them somehow in Episode 9. And Luke is also going to be in the movie in some capacity, probably as a Force ghost. Possibly they will have a flashback scene or two. I know a lot of people are very excited about the original cast, or some of them, returning for this movie to wrap up the quote-unquote Skywalker saga. I don't see this as a wrapping up of the Skywalker saga. The Skywalker saga ended with Return of the Jedi. It was, the whole saga as it was the rise and fall and redemption of Anakin Skywalker. He was redeemed by his son, Luke Skywalker, and that was an end to the story. Now, it could have gone on in various ways if there had been a direct continuation after Return of the Jedi, especially if they had not wrapped up all the loose ends like they did in Return of the Jedi. I can think of a number of different ways the story could have continued. And I think originally George Lucas had meant for it to continue, but he and his wife divorced, and he just wanted to end it. And she was an editor, and she was a big part of making those movies as good as they were. And he just decided, she was leaving. He was going to, his heart wasn't in it anymore. He was just going to end the series and make it a trilogy, and that is my understanding. Please feel free to fact check me on that. Anyway, so the Skywalker saga could have continued in any number of ways, but it didn't. Those movies ended. Then these new movies pick up many years later, and they don't focus on the Skywalkers at all. The Skywalkers, such as they are, is mainly at this point just Kylo Ren, who's evil, and he's not really the focus, although he's probably the most interesting character in the series so far, such as it is. Other characters, of course, are Princess Leia, now General Leia, and I have to roll my eyes whenever I say that. Yes, she will always be royalty to me. But she is also not the focus, and they tragically misused her very badly in Episode 8 by having her be in a coma for half the movie. Why would you have Princess Leia around and not make better use of her than as a coma? The answer is obviously so they could do something with Holdo and give Holdo something to do. Holdo, who is a terrible character that they used terribly, it's a terrible effect. So, not a fan of Holdo. They should have used that time with Princess Leia. They really shouldn't have had that whole subplot, the Holdo Poe subplot, in Episode 8. But regardless, they didn't use Princess Leia very well in Episode 8 or 9 or 7. Obviously they're probably not going to be able to do too much with her. She'll just have a very small role, one would think, in Episode 9. And they, totally botched Luke Skywalker, my childhood hero, turned him into a coward and basically a villain, trying to kill, or at least contemplating killing, an unarmed sleeping boy who at that point, as far as we know, hadn't actually done anything wrong. This is the Luke Skywalker that would redeem Darth Vader, who would risk his own life to go into the lion's den to bring his father back from the dark side. He's going to kill an unarmed nephew in his sleep. No, that's not Luke Skywalker. That is just terrible writing, and that is the decision that may have ultimately killed Lucasfilm, and certainly killed this new trilogy and any enthusiasm I have for the new movie. And that's where we are now, is for what I think of Luke and Leia returning for Episode 9. I don't give a shit. They've ruined the movies. They've ruined this new trilogy. They've ruined Luke, and thus they have ruined Star Wars. I don't see them redeeming this new trilogy. Now, J.J. Abrams has a knack for making an entertaining movie. He is really good at just making a good popcorn movie, usually somewhat intelligent popcorn movie, although when you look closely at some of the plot mechanics, some of that intelligence is eroded. But they are almost, as a rule, entertaining, engaging movies done in a particular style. So I would envision Episode 9 being a fun movie set in the Star Wars universe, but I am not looking forward to it, and I have absolutely no hope that they can save the franchise, certainly not save this trilogy with Episode 9. Yeah, no, they have botched the whole thing, and I have no faith or confidence that Lucasfilm, as it currently exists, can fix it. And J.J. Abrams has said that Luke is dead. He is not coming back. He did not force project or whatever. Mark Hamill had made a joke about how maybe Luke was still alive, and maybe he had just force projected. And J.J. Abrams quickly shot this down and said, "No, you're dead." So any hope of them redeeming Luke's character is kaput. They could have, in a number of ways, redeemed Luke. Maybe the character we saw on the island was actually a clone of Luke. They toyed with, they had a clone of Luke in the extended universe in the books. And they obviously have clones in this universe. So that would not be crazy. There's any number of explanations for why that Luke, Jake Skywalker, did the things that Jake Skywalker did. And the real Luke was doing something else elsewhere. And that could have redeemed Luke Skywalker and thus the entire franchise. But J.J. Abrams has just shot that down by saying Luke is dead. So thanks, J.J. You have just ruined my childhood hero again. And your own childhood hero, because he was. So well done. You had the opportunity to save Luke Skywalker, and you did not. So, yeah. So anyway, that's all I really have to say about that. I have no enthusiasm at all for the next Star Wars movie. I love Star Wars with every fiber of my being. I was born in 1976. I grew up to become a fantasy and science fiction writer. So Star Wars means a lot to me. I live and breathe Star Wars. And the fact that I am not excited, and in fact am kind of dreading Episode 9, says a lot. Those are my thoughts on Luke and Leia returning to Episode 9. I don't give a shit. What I do care is more of dread than of excitement. I am worried they will misuse them even more than they've already been misused. And that's about all I have to say about that. Let me know what you think about Luke and Leia returning for Episode 9 in the comments below. Please like this video, share, and subscribe. Talk to you next time. Jack out.